you ready.
As Carlos mentioned, I had the privilege of working as an advisor in Providence, right across the hall from him from 2002 to 2006, and then was out in the Met Sacramento working with Alan Young until 2011, which time I was not looking to go back to grad school, but I found an offer I couldn't refuse and started a full-time doctoral program, which I'm now halfway through. And it was my specific intention to spend all of my time looking for things better than big picture. And next year I will be doing my year-long residency with big picture. So I'm pretty darn excited.
Welcome back. You didn't go anywhere.
Thanks. And I've had the chance, I mean, it's really the opportunity to work with not only all of you here in the room, but folks like Eunice. So I'm really excited to be co-presenting with her.
Without the Dookie chain.
This is true, no chain.
And I am Eunice Mitchell. I fell in love with big picture. I stumbled upon big picture. Really, it's a complete accident that I'm even here, but met Charlie in an interview because I was in love with the design and realized that he was asking for me to lead the school and not just work in it, and it just kind of happened. Divine intervention. I've been in love ever since, and worked in Newark as a school leader alongside, where's my New York City people and my New Jersey people, because I'm working with you guys all now. So I transitioned into working with Big Picture Learning and in New York City and New Jersey. And now I have to...
So we're excited. We have 15 slides, 20 seconds apiece. There's a little line at the bottom. We haven't done this before, and there's no safety net. So, all right, Brian.
And I think, wait, even before you start that, I think Andrew... Oh, really? Come. Sorry, Tim Jenkins School uses this particular design as one of their exhibitions for seniors. So we can thank Tim Jenkins and his team for this excitement.
Okay.
Okay, so we've introduced ourselves. We are excited to share with you design thinking. Raise your hand if you are familiar with it really quickly. I don't have that much time. Beautiful. And we're hoping that in our deep dive that you will have an opportunity to think about how you can use it in your schools.
So we start off life very curious. We have a childlike sense of wonder. This is my son who's 3 months old. And when he looks out at the world, everything is a novel and new stimulation. He is learning and making meaning and novel connections every single day. However, as we grow older, humans, like all animals, are evolutionarily predisposed to avoid risk, to identify and avoid risk. And we are told what is the right way to do things and what is the wrong way to do things. And fear begins to replace curiosity. And so the pressures of operating in a day-to-day world actually eliminates a lot of the genius of creativity. And this is my daughter, who's 3 years old, and I'm working to try to maintain her curiosity. And what I'm hoping to do here with groups of you is also for us to be able to regain some of our curiosity. And that's the goal of design thinking, to be able to restore creativity through a set of climate, process, and thinking to develop innovation.
So what does it look like? Design thinking is a process, as Andrew mentioned, that really allows us to explore and investigate problems and come up with a multitude of solutions. It starts off, it's human-centered, it starts off with empathizing and defining your user and who you're interested in, and moves into being creative.
Now, when you hear about creativity or design or innovation, you may assume that this is related to increased efficiency, but that's only one type of innovation. If you look at these 4 products and try to think what they have in common, it's that something essential has been removed. So you rip the wheel off a bicycle, it becomes an exercise bike. You take the liquid out of soup, it becomes ramen. And I think that really, when I think about big picture learning, this idea of subtraction is actually one of the ways in which that we have been systematically inventive in our thinking. And this is true beyond just simple consumer products. If we think about a ATM being a bank without a physical bank, Amazon without a physical store, iPod shuffles changing the way in which we consume music, or even placebo pills without the active ingredient, there are substantial examples of the way in which this kind of thinking can change whole processes.
Here's a snapshot of what it looks like. So it was popularized in the business world in the 80s, and then moved into education. Stanford University, the design school, really started to use it in education, and it became extremely popular in that way. It has moved so far into education that we are probably using it in our schools without even thinking about it, but many schools are using design thinking with students. So working with students to come up with ways to think differently, explore design challenges that are designed by teachers, and think and plan and do things in the real world. Here's an example of how the Rhode Island Department of Education partnered with the Business Innovation Factory to come up with a design challenge that really speaks to how do we improve our school day. And students were asked to kind of think about the purpose of school, critique it, and begin the process of developing a better school. Here's another snapshot. New York City students were asked to envision and to imagine education in the year 2050. And this is what they came up with when they said, what will be the tools that we'll need in 2050? Not just a regular pencil, but a pencil that speaks to the needs of students in the future.
So as Eunice is thinking about how to think about the future, one other powerful aspect of design thinking is it helps us clarify the problem we're trying to solve. If we look at the way in which shipping cargo happened up through the 1950s, the big challenge they thought was how do we make the ships go faster? But if we think about the way in which goods were transported, it involved a lot of things that did not look like this. Okay? They were moving things on pallets and crates. It was very, very labor intensive. And it turned out that it was not an efficiency question. The question was about redesigning, reimagining the entire process that went along with it. And it was really a design thinking type process that shifted the way in which we have access to goods all over the world. So many of us in the room, you may not immediately think of yourselves as designers. But as Herb Simon once said, everyone designs who devises courses of action aimed at changing existing situations into preferred ones. And I think that's the work we do at Big Picture.
So we invite you to come to our deep dive and get dirty and do some actual designs and learn how you might use it in your schools. We are done. High five.
Okay.